Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the October 9th, 2025 meeting of the City Plan Commission. I'm Alfredo Borrego. I chair this commission and I call this meeting to order at 1:30 p.m. Commissioner Apodaca.
Statement to the public. The City Plan Commission has sole and final approval authority over subdivision maps, which is statutorily limited to a ministerial examination of the application's conformance to all applicable code provisions. The staff report for an agenda item may include conditions, exceptions, or modifications. The Commission may approve the item with all staff report conditions, exceptions, or modifications, including additional measures regarding the item as imposed by the Commission. Otherwise, the staff report with all modifications, exceptions, and conditions is approved, and the applicant shall comply with all provisions of the staff report. Commissioners will consider all agenda items other than subdivision items in the form of a public hearing. The normal process is as follows. First, the Commission will hear a staff report, followed by a statement from the applicant. Then members of the public may speak, followed by any final statement from the applicant. Finally, the matter will be closed for further discussion or a motion among the Commission. The Commission shall then make a recommendation that will be forwarded to City Council.
Thank you, Commissioner Apodaca. Mr. Zamora.
Good afternoon. Luis Zamora with Planning and Inspections. We have a change. Item 5 and 7 are to be heard together. Item 5 at 7 again. 5 is BZRZ 24-00016. And this is for property at 8701 Gateway South. And item 7 is BZST 25-00006 for the same property, 8701 Gateway South. So again, the request is to have item 5 and 7 heard together.
Just heard.
And well,
Okay.
I'll leave that up to you.
All right.
Obviously for action together. And then just a reminder, we have, I think, one revised staff report. That's all the changes.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Zamora. Commissioners, can I entertain a motion for the changes to the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the changes to the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We now move to the public forum. If there's anybody in here or on the phone that would like to address this commission on something that is not on the agenda, the time is now. Again, public forum for anybody that would like to address this commission. Now's the time to do it. If you're on the phone, *6 to unmute. Hold on, Ms. Herrera.
I'm sorry.
You have 3 minutes,
Okay,
okay? And Mr. Smith will keep tabs of the time.
okay. I received a letter from the City Plan Commission, public notice, saying they're rezoning an area by my house from a C1-SC-SP Commercial Special Contract Special Permit, and that's being changed from an A2 SC-SP Apartment Special Contract Special Permit. And when I received the letter, it's got a big red circle, and my house is on there. So I just wanted to make sure what this involves.
Mr. Zamora.
Luis Zamora for the record. Yeah, this item is on the agenda.
Which item number is that?
Item 6.
Item 6.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
We'll let you speak then.
All right, thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you. Any other public speaker? On the phone, *6 to unmute. Seeing and hearing none, public speaking is closed. We move to the consent agenda. Commissioners?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I'm sure there's no discussion. Hearing and seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we move on to the regular agenda, which is item number 3, and for that, we have Ms. Aguilar.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Commission. Mirna Aguilar with Planning and Inspections. Item number 3 on the agenda is Canutillo Middle School subdivision involving a major combination application. This development is within the city of El Paso and is located east of West Side Drive and south of Arcraft Road. The applicant is proposing to subdivide 50.31 acres to create 3 lots. Stormwater drainage will be managed by on-site ponding, and the primary access to the subdivision will be from Upper Valley Road. This development is being reviewed under the current subdivision code and is compliant to the Upper Valley Plan. Here we have the preliminary plat, and here we have the final plat. The applicant is requesting the following exceptions from the City Plan Commission, and that is to waive the construction of a 5-foot sidewalk along Strahan Road and to waive the construction of 1 foot of roadway along Strahan Road. This is a required cross-section information and the existing cross-section measurements. These pictures show the existing conditions where the 2 top ones, the subdivision is to the right, and the bottom one is just showing where the subdivision begins. The exception to waive the required improvements meets the criteria under Title 19 of El Paso City Code ordinances. And with that, staff recommends approval of Canutillo Middle School subdivision on a major combination basis as it complies with Title 19 requirements, and denial of the exception request that was previously mentioned before. The denial request is based on the following: that this is a corner property providing an opportunity for future connectivity. Property is located northeast on Arcraft Drive and Strahan Road, has already improved the proportionate share section sidewalk, and sidewalks will provide a safe route to the pedestrian and hence ADA access along Strahan Road, and will proactively work on the Safe Routes to School Action Plan that was adopted by City Council of September of 2024. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. Commissioners, questions for Ms. Aguilar? I have a question for the representative. Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. Can we hear from the representative?
Good afternoon, George Halou with SLI Engineering. And of course, I don't agree with the staff comments.
So if you agree with staff comments on
I
the
do not.
denial of the sidewalk, why would we not want to put a sidewalk there in the school?
You know, we don't have any access to the school from Strahan. It's completely blocked off. The only main access that we have to the school is from Upper Valley. We also are limited by the irrigation ditch that you saw on the cross-section. We have an irrigation ditch from north to south.
Can you put that slide back up where it shows the one so we could see the streets? That one right there. So the entrance to this is going to be from Upper Valley,
Yes, sir.
not from Strahan.
Yes, sir. We're gonna create a, like a 2-sided street, not street, like a driveway along the school. So we're going to cover the ditch, the irrigation ditch.
It's going to be covered.
Yes.
It'll be
because
underground.
For safety reasons, yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna cover the irrigation ditch. We're going to create a 2-way drive adjacent to the school for people to get off Upper Valley and stack along the school to the north. And that's where will be the entrance to, to drop off the kids. The entrance to the south will be just for staff.
Okay, if
And
I'm
no
look,
entrance whatsoever on Strahan Road.
okay, if I'm looking at it correctly, Art Craft is to the west, correct?
No, to the north.
Art Craft is to the north. Okay. Okay, Art Craft to the north. So Upper Valley's to the south.
Upper Valley will be the west.
Okay, I get it, okay. It just, we need sidewalks.
I promise I understand. It's just like if I place any sidewalk along that ditch, there's a possibility for people to fall off in that ditch, and the ditch doesn't belong to us.
Talking about the drain?
Yes.
But I thought you said it was gonna be covered.
On the Strahan. But on the Upper Valley, we're covering that entire, that's like 120-foot right-of-way. We're covering that entire area for safety reason. We're placing, I think, a 48-inch pipe, and then we're covering it with dirt, and then it will be like a surface level, just to make sure that the kids won't fall in there when they go to school.
Commissioner Massoud,
Hello, so are you saying?
turn on your mic, please, sir.
I'm loud. Mr. Halud, when you call in a ditch, actually you'll be covering the drain.
Yes,
Okay, it's actually the drain.
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
a
the-
large structure.
yes.
So you're using a 48-inch
I
pipe.
think it's a 48-inch pipe. I don't recall. I'm not designing the pipe. Another
Okay.
company is designing the pipe.
And the irrigation district is on board with that?
Yes, sir.
And it's not a surplus piece, they're still being used as a drain.
Yes, yeah. It will be connected
Yes,
via
what?
pipe.
Yes, a surplus, or yes, it's still being used?
It's still being used.
Okay.
So the pipe will be conveying the water.
So no need for a bridge, you'll be crossing wherever you want?
Yes, sir.
you know,
But
through that
we're gonna cross at the existing bridge right now.
Right now. But once you cover that entire drain, you will have full access to Upper Valley.
Right, but we're putting curb and gutter to make sure that no people crossing, like this, they'll be going shortcuts. So we're eliminating that possibility by providing only one driveway off Upper Valley so we can regulate the traffic.
Yeah, but there will be no ditch for somebody to
No,
fall in it. Because
no.
you're gonna cover everything.
Yes,
So,
yes,
having a sidewalk would not be a big issue, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, on this side, we're gonna have a sidewalk.
On Upper
But
Valley,
on-
but on Strahan, I
but
can
on
understand, because
Strahan,
you have an irrigation
yes,
ditch
sir.
and people will fall in it, I get it.
Yes,
But
sir.
on Upper
Plus, we don't
Valley-
have any access to the school from there at all.
Thank you,
It'll be
Mr.
blocked
Halil.
off.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hanson.
I just want to make sure that I understand the layout correctly. So Upper Valley will be, completely covered. There's not going to be any access to any irrigation ditch for kids, parents, whoever. But Strahan will be an open irrigation ditch.
Yes, ma'am.
So the school is going to have chain link fence, whatever, in between the school and the ditch.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The school's going to have fencing or something in between the
Yes,
school
we're
and the
gonna
ditch.
have a fence, like on the Strahan area, it will be completely blocked off. No vehicular access or pedestrian access.
So this might not be a question that you know off the top of your head. Is Strahan Road, across Strahan Road is going to be within this school's area, right? So there are going to be kids who, even though it's not going to be technically the road that they should be taking to school, they're going to be walking on that sidewalk.
Well, obviously, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Again, as Commissioner Hanson pointed out, there'll be kids, some of them will be bus, a lot of them will come in walking, and on the Strahan side, there won't be any sidewalk. I really have a problem with that, especially in days when it's wet. It's gonna be all muddy. And I'm sure that the school, for those kids that come in from there, will have an entrance for them to walk in and out during the school.
There won't be
But
any entrance whatsoever.
I thought they said that there's no access through Strahan.
No, no.
So, okay, then let me put it to you different. The kids that come up through Strahan will have to walk all the way to Artcraft, all the way around.
Yes, sir.
But as they're coming up to Artcraft, they'll either be walking on the street or in the mud or in the dirt. I have a problem with that.
Then we'll put a sidewalk next to the irrigation ditch, and you'll be okay with that?
Well, the thing is that we're building a school,
Yes, sir.
okay? That's gonna be long-term. That's gonna do generations of children there. And if we're going to build a school, I think it's up to us as commissioners of this commission to make sure that it's done correctly into the future. And all the schools that I've seen here in the city, they'll have sidewalks. The ones that I can think of right now have sidewalks. In this case, we're just forcing everybody to go to one side, but we're not worrying about the conditions around the school, mainly in the other side. And what we don't want, I surely don't want, is these kids to be walking all the way to Artcraft to go around, back again on Upper Valley, just to go in and out of the school. That's just my concern.
Okay.
Commissioner Apodaca?
Yes. Is there going to be access through Strahan Road?
No, sir.
So why would we need a sidewalk there
For
if it's going to be fenced out?
So, there is an elementary school down the street also. Do you not envision that the kids from the elementary school are gonna go back and forth from the middle school? Because I do.
Why would they do that? I mean, if you're going to
I would
elementary
see that
school.
they're gonna have events going back and forth. But
Okay,
you
on-
also said that
On Upper
the,
Valley, there will be a sidewalk.
but the
not on
school is
Strahan.
actually on Strahan. So, but you said that the parking lot for this, the teachers was gonna be through Strahan.
No, there will be two parking spots, one on the south side of Upper Valley and one on the north side. So the south side, like the beginning of the school will be for the teachers, and then we'll have a two-way drive along the entire perimeter of the school, and then they take a right and they go inside and drop off their kids. But there won't be anything off of Strahan.
So you're gonna put a fence completely on the Strahan side?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Uribe?
Yeah, I'm looking at the aerial photo, and Strahan actually crosses Artcraft under a bridge. So there is no sidewalk, but there is a street that crosses. Strahan does cross.
They can take that crossing then under the bridge to the school instead of just walking along Strahan. I'm just worried, I mean, you can tell we're building a school, it's gonna be millions of dollars. The strip of sidewalk is not the cost, it's just worrying about kids jumping in the, kids. They can slip, they can fall in that little irrigation ditch. That's the only thing we're worried about. It's not the money for a sidewalk.
Turn on your mic, sir. Speak to the mic.
If they're covering the drain, 48-inch pipe, a small, private irrigation ditch, that's a 24-inch pipe, that's a lot less costly than covering.
We're
If you
covering,
could cover that ditch,
because the main entrance is off of Upper Valley. So that's why we're covering that ditch. We just wanted to make sure that, it's a huge area.
It's just that this commission has kind of like put in through that we gonna try to get, connectivity with sidewalks everywhere, and we're trying not to make any sort of exceptions, especially when the city staff is telling us that they wanna see a sidewalk.
I totally understand, and you
Feel
just
strongly about
make
that
your,
anyway,
make your recommendation, really. I totally
And again,
understand.
I mean, I get it, kids don't just walk, they also ride bikes, and
Correct.
they could, there's a hike and bike trail along
That's-
Artcraft that could connect to that sidewalk, and there's a run into the.
But
Upper
why
Valley.
wouldn't they go under the bridge like Mr. Uribe
Yes,
said?
I mean, one way or the other.
That's
I think
probably
it's
the
to
shortest
benefit of
way.
everybody, and it's a small cost for the school district to add to make it convenient for the neighborhood. I think it is a wise thing to do.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Kevin Smith with Planning Inspections. So again, as was mentioned by staff, the city council is really pushing for greater connectivity, especially around schools. It doesn't stay directly to the front of the school or wherever. Again, this is a subdivision. The building permits are a separate issue that's not under consideration at this time. Nothing's preventing them from modifying their plan at a future date to change their configuration or change flow of traffic or pedestrian traffic even. This is a significant stretch, about 1,500 feet along Strahan, and this is a good opportunity there. As was mentioned, there's a hike and bike trail along Artcraft. This has opportunity to tie directly in to Artcraft. And so, again, you have the staff recommendation. We do recommend denial of the exception request. This would provide a great opportunity for
for whether it's school traffic or just regular traffic, provide them walking on a paved surface.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any other questions, commissioners, to the representative?
It's not time yet.
No. Thank you, Mr. Representative.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Commissioners, item number 3 is before us.
Motion to approve this subdivision and not the exception request.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 3 with the denial of the waiver. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We now go to public hearing, right-of-way, which is number 4. For that, we have Mr. Fuentes.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Commission. Alonso Hernandez with Planning and Inspections on behalf of Saul Fontes.
Welcome, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you, sir. Item number 4 on the agenda is Holstein Road vacation. The right-of-way proposed to be vacated is located north of I-10 and west of Zaragoza Road. The applicant is proposing to vacate 1.45 acres of public right-of-way in order to continue with the proposed subdivision of the parcel. This is a survey of the subject area. And this is a picture of the existing conditions of the subject property shown on red. And here we have a list of cases relating to the properties that the right-of-way runs through, as well as their approval dates. Notice of public hearing was published in the El Paso Times and mailed to the property owners within 200 feet on September 29th, 2025. And as of today, the Planning Division has received 1 call of inquiry for the vacation request. With that, staff recommends approval of Holstein right-of-way vacation. And this concludes the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Questions for Mr. Hernandez? We have visited this site before, I think a couple of times, so you should be familiar with that. No questions? Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Can we hear from the applicant, the representative?
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners. Conrad Conde with Conde Incorporated. We do concur with all staff's comments.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. At this time, I'm opening it up to public hearing for item number 4. If there's anybody in the public or on the phone that would like to speak for or against this item, now's the time to do it. Star 6 to unmute. When you come up to the mic, will you please state your name, and Mr. Smith will give you 3 minutes and he'll keep tabs of the time.
I live right in the street next to it, and it's a neighborhood that it's full of children playing around, and that fence really protects us from the bars around. We're constantly hearing shootings, we're constantly hearing ambulances and all this scandal that comes along with the bars. So that fence really protects our neighborhood, and I'm really against it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Can we just get your name for the record, please?
My name is Deborah Torres.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Any other speakers? If you're on the phone, star 6 to unmute. One more time, public comment for item number 4. Star 6 to unmute. Seeing and hearing none, public comment is closed. Commissioners, item number 4 is before us.
Motion to approve, Uribe.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 4. Any discussion?
I would like to ask the applicant a question. Can we do that?
Sure. This is the time to do it.
This is just to open for subdivision, correct?
Well, this is twofold. So if you recall the original, we were going to rezone that entire area for self-storage. The neighborhood got with the owner and said, can you do us a favor? Can you extend the street just for another 12 lots of residential and stop the street there, and then we'll have a buffer between the self-storage and the rest of the residents. And so that's why there's two subdivisions. There's the residential component, which is only 12 lots. That extends, so that where the dead-end street is just gonna go into another street that's just a cul-de-sac with additional residential lots. And then the back end, which is facing Zaragoza, is gonna be the self-storage, which is separated and buffered. And everybody within that neighborhood told us, please do not have Holstein go through. We don't want that traffic continuing to and through our neighborhood. So that's why we're doing this,
So there's no connection to Zaragoza,
except for the self-storage, but that's
to
private.
the neighborhoods?
That's correct,
Gotcha, thank you.
correct.
But we had, Mr. Conde, we had already talked about the self-storage one, and then another one for the residential,
Correct.
twice, right?
That is correct.
Right, okay.
Stone Ridge is the residential, and Holstein Estates is the apartment, not the apartments, the self-storage, correct.
Okay.
You're
Thank you.
correct.
Any other questions? No? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No, or nay.
No. Bernice, roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Badillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Masud?
Aye.
Commissioner Borrego?
Aye.
Commissioner Hanson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Nay. Aye.
That was Commissioner
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. And that was a nay, correct? Thank you.
Sorry.
Commissioner Uribe? Commissioner Apodaca?
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Bernice. Motion carries. We
Thank you,
now-
Commissioners.
You're welcome. We now move to items number 5 and number 7. And for that, we have Mr. Beltran.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Commission. Jose Beltran with Planning and Inspections. Item number 5 and 7 on the agenda consist of a rezoning and a special permit, both which are related, for the subject property located at 8701 Gateway South Boulevard. Subject property is .29 acres in size and is currently a contractor's yard with 2 single-family dwellings. The zoning for the property is R4, and the applicant is requesting to rezone to C2 and approval of a special permit and detailed site development plan to allow for the use of a contractor's yard, a professional office, and a resident watchman dwelling with a 0-foot rear and side street setbacks. Plan El Paso designates the subject property as G3 post-war for the Northeast Planning Area. Here we have the detailed site development plan showing the layout of the development. The site plan shows an existing 1,280 square foot single-family dwelling proposed to be converted to a professional office, a 660 square foot structure to be used as a resident watchman dwelling, along with existing storage structures. As part of the special permit, again, the applicant is requesting the reduction of the side street and rear setbacks to 0 feet. This development requires 4 parking spaces. The applicant is providing 4 parking spaces, including 1 accessible space and 3 bicycle spaces. Vehicular access to the subject property will be from Sunrise Drive, excuse me. The detailed site development plan does comply with all applicable standards of the El Paso City Code, and it is binding. Here are the building elevations. The structures each have maximum heights ranging from 10 feet to 15 feet. Here is the site plan superimposed on the aerial imagery. Here's a view of the subject property. This image was taken along Gateway South, looking to the west. This property has been operating illegally as a contractor's yard since at least 2023. Looking to the surrounding development, properties to the north are Zone C2, R4, and special development, consisting of a contractor's yard, a single-family home, and a hotel. Properties to the east of the subject property across Gateway South is US Highway 54, and to the south there are properties Zone C2 and C3, consisting of vacant lots and a professional office. And to the west, we have single-family dwellings, zoned R4. Public notices were sent to property owners within 300 feet on September 26, 2025. Additionally, the applicant did notify the Sunrise Neighborhood Association of the requests. And as of today, the Planning Division has received one letter in support of these requests. To conclude, staff recommends approval with conditions of the rezoning request. Condition 1 is for a 10-foot landscape buffer where abutting residential properties or uses. And condition 2 is to require a minimum 500-foot distance between establishments deriving majority of their income from the sale of alcohol or those emitting amplified sound. And also, in addition, staff recommends approval of the special permit and detailed site development plan requests for a contractor's yard with the 0-foot rear and side street setbacks. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Beltran. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Beltran? No? Can we hear from the representative?
Hi, John Cook here representing Mr. De La Riva. Mr. De La Riva asked me to help him with this so he could, after a court order, bring the property into compliance for the use that he's using it for now. So I want to thank the city staff for working with us to make sure that we did as much that was possible to rectify some of the existing situations that have been on the property. That, as far as I can find out, that some of the zero-yard setback at the rear of the property, that's been there since the early 1970s and has existed that way. But the property is currently zoned residential and needs to be zoned commercial. And to use it as a contractor's yard, it requires a special permit.
Commissioners, questions for Mayor Cook?
Just,
Commissioner Reyes.
Yeah, Mayor, has there been any complaints from the residents in the area on these
No,
years?
as a matter of fact, I went and I met with each of the adjacent property owners. Directly across the street is a vacant lot. Behind him is a residential neighbor. He's the one who's most impacted by the rear yard setback. He has no problem. As a matter of fact, he's the one who sent the letter in support of the project.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Cook, did you say that it was a court order that got him here?
Yes.
Okay. One of the concerns that I have is that the address calls for Gateway South, and now we're going to move all that action in that area to Sunrise, correct? So is there going to be a new address?
No, currently, the property is actually facing the gateway. Both city staff and TxDOT do not want the existing driveway, which is not being used, that goes onto the gateway. They want also the existing Sunrise driveway, which is what has been being used since 2023. So it's not going to impact the current traffic.
One more question. Define watchman's house instead of a house or janitorial house or rental house.
Sure, that's a technical question.
Jose Beltran for the record. A resident watchman dwelling is a residence located on a property that's an accessory use to the primary use on that property.
Okay, now I know. Appreciate it. Thank you. Questions for the representative? Thank you, Mayor Cook.
You're quite welcome.
This is a public hearing. At this time, I'm opening it up. Public hearing for or against item number 5 and number 7. *6 to unmute. One more time, public hearing for items number 5 and number 7. *6 to unmute. Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Commissioners, we'll take this one, each one. First, the number 5, and then number 7.
Motion to approve number 5. A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 5. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve 7.
Second.
We have a motion to approve item number 7. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We now move to number 6. For that, we have Ms. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Commission. Alejandra Gonzalez with Planning and Inspections. Item number 6 on the agenda is a rezoning request for the subject property located at 1991 South Plainfield. Here's an aerial image of the property. Property is 3.4 acres in size and is currently an assisted living facility. The property is located North Monwood Drive for reference. The applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from A2 Special Contract Special Permit to C1 Special Contract Special Permit District to allow for the proposed use of commercial daycare at the existing assisted living facility. I'm sorry. Future land use map for the East Planning Area designates the property as G4 suburban walkable. Here we have the detailed site plan that shows the existing development. The detailed site plan is not being reviewed for zoning requirements and is not binding. Here we have an image of the property taken from South Plainfield. The properties to the north include a ponding, and to the west, a single-family dwellings that are zone R5. To the south, the property includes also an assisted living facility, zone A2, and the property to the east includes an apartment complex, also zone A2. Notices were mailed to the property owners within 300 feet on September 24, 2025, and the Planning Division has not received any communication in support or opposition to the request. With that, staff recommends approval with conditions of the rezoning request. In summary, the conditions are as follows. Condition 1 is to require the approval of a detailed site plan. Condition 2 is for a 10-feet landscape buffer where abutting residential. Condition 3, that no outdoor amplified sound shall be permitted within the property. And condition 4, to require a 500-foot distance between establishment deriving the majority of their income from alcohol and emitting amplified sound. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Commissioners, questions from Ms. Gonzalez? No? Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Can we hear from the representative?
John Figueroa, representative for Simpatico Senior Property LLC. Basically what we have is we have an assisted living facility that currently resides at the location at 1991 South Kleinfeld. The intent of the rezoning is for us to be able to allow daycare services within the facility during the same operating hours as the assisted living during the day. There will be no alcohol consumed. This is not for the intent of any kind of outdoor events of parties or anything like that. It's simply using the existing facility to be able to allow the services of daycare services to residents that currently reside there and also adjacent area within the community.
You concur with all staff comments?
Yes, I do.
All right. Commissioners, questions? See none? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is also a public comment item. I'm opening it up for public comment. Item number 6, if you're on the phone, star 6 to unmute. One more time, public comment. Item number 6, Star 6 to unmute.
Ma'am, did you want to speak on this item? No? Okay, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith. One more time, public comment, item number 6. Star 6 to unmute. Seeing and hearing none, public comment is closed. Commissioners, number 6 is before us.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to approve item number 6 and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We move on to number 8. For that, we have Mr. Beltran.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Commission. Jose Beltran with Planning and Inspections. Item number 8 on the agenda is a special permit application for the subject property located at 600 South Stanton. The subject property is .29 acres in size, currently zoned C4, and is currently vacant. The applicant is requesting a special permit and detailed site development plan approval for an infill development with a parking reduction and a reduction to the side street setback for the proposed use of a ballroom. The future land use designation for the property is G2, traditional neighborhood walkable. Here is a detailed site plan that shows the proposed layout of the development, which includes an existing vacant structure with a maximum height of 17 feet, totaling 6,232 square feet of gross floor area. The applicant is requesting a 60% parking reduction and a reduction to the side street setbacks to 0 feet. Pedestrian access to the subject property will be via the sidewalk along Stanton Street. Vehicular access will be from 4th Avenue through a side entrance and exit via the rear alleyway. There are currently 11 bus stops located within 0.25 miles of the subject property, as well as a streetcar stop. This detailed site plan is binding and does comply with all code requirements. The applicant did submit a parking study. Infill development does grant a automatic 50% reduction in parking. However, the applicant is requesting a larger reduction of 60%. The development requires 35 parking spaces, and the applicant is proposing 14 on-site parking spaces to be provided. The parking study shows 70 spaces available within 300 feet, within a 300-foot radius, and 28 spaces available per day on average, demonstrating sufficient on-street parking available. This slide shows the elevations of the existing structure. This slide shows the site plan superimposed on the aerial map. Here we have an image of the subject property taken from Stanton Street. Looking at the surrounding development to the north, south, and east are property zone C4 consisting mainly of commercial uses, commercial retail. And to the east are property zoned specialized residential revitalization consisting of a church and residential uses. Public notices were mailed to property owners within 300 feet on September 26th of this year. And the applicant did notify the Central Business Association, the Southside Neighborhood Association, and the Sunrise Civic Group of the requests. And as of today, the Planning Division has not received any communication in support or opposition. And to conclude, staff does recommend approval of the special permit and detailed site development plan request for the ballroom with a reduced side street setback and parking reduction, as it complies with all requirements of the El Paso City Code for a special permit, detailed site development plan, and infill development. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beltran. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Beltran? Commissioner Hanson.
Is this a ballroom? Did I hear you right? It's a ballroom?
Yes, proposed use of a ballroom.
Is that on a technicality, or this is an event center?
It generally falls under the ballroom classification in the
But-
code, which is allowed by right in the C4 zone.
Okay. A parking reduction for a ballroom is Like, and maybe this is from the applicant, but I need a wild pitch for that. What is the reason for that? Just because it's infill?
Yeah, well, I would defer to the applicant for that, but as far as
Okay.
parking reduction, they did demonstrate there is sufficient parking to offset the requirements.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Beltran? Thank you, Mr. Beltran. Can we hear from the representative?
Good afternoon, everybody. So I am the architect of record of this project, and he is the owner's representative for this project. The owner purchased this property. He's envisioned like a small ballroom, just like for quinceañeras, things like that, like parties. It will not be like huge amount of people. Will be mostly for small events, for quinceañeras, birthdays, those kind of things, graduations maybe. And you have questions, comments?
Commissioner Hanson?
Do you know the occupancy of the building, fire-wise?
It's about 100, 120, 130, more or less. Yeah, we are providing 14 spaces, but the lot doesn't have enough space for more parking. That's why we're requesting this special permit.
Commissioner Uribe?
I'm familiar with that area and that property, so it used to be a retail store. That area is really not busy in the afternoons where the events would take place, so I think there's not a conflict on the parking because of that.
Mhm.
You know, everybody kind of goes home after 5 o'clock.
Any other comments
There,
for
any
Commissioner
issue-
Reyes?
Any issues with noise? Are there residents and that wouldn't be an issue with anybody?
Not really, mostly all the properties around, adjacent to this property are commercial. So a few residential properties behind, but it's buffered with the alley and the parking area. But not outside, like music events or something like that will happen.
How long has this property been empty?
I don't know. It's been like a year since the owner purchased this property.
Before that, you don't know?
No,
Okay.
but
Mr. Uribe? It's been,
yeah,
okay.
there are signs of like neglected maintenance for the property, and a lot of homeless people there.
So that's why it's an infill, bring that area, or at least that building back to life.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Again, this is a public comment number 8. I'm opening it up, public comment number 8. If there's anybody out there that would like to speak for or against item number 8, now's the time to do it. Star 6 to unmute. One more time, public comment for item number 8, star 6 to unmute. Seeing and hearing none, public comment is closed. Commissioners, number 8 is before us.
Motion to approve, Uribe?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 8. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Ms. Bernice, roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Badillo. Aye. Commissioner Masud. Aye. Commissioner Borrego.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanson.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Nay.
Commissioner Uribe.
Aye.
Commissioner Apodaca.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, motion is passed. Now we move to other business, item number 9. And for that, Mr. Tiwi.
Mr. Chair, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Hope you're doing well today. As you may or may not know, this past legislative session, the state passed several bills, probably over 1,000 bills that were passed, and some of these bills affected cities like us, over 150,000 people in size, and those bills have minor to significant impact on how we do business. So today, we're presenting two of those bills to you, and I think in past maybe 5-6 weeks ago, Mr. Abelin presented two of those bills to you. So it's taken us a while to go through these bills and look at how we're able to manage the presentation to you today, and also how to package it, because there were several sections of the codes that were required to be amended to get this to you today. So there were several staff involved in this. So I want to upfront thank them, Mr. Calvin William Smith, Mr. Jose de la Cruz, and Javier de la Cruz, where is he? And also Mr. Luis Zamora and all other staff members, and also Mr. Abelin and his staff, and also the Urban Design staff as well, Mr. Hoffman and Ms. Daniela Caseta. So like I said, there are two bills that we're presenting today, and those bills are 840. Let me go back to so those two bills essentially mandates that housing options be provided for a city 150,000 plus in population. And those bills became effective September 1st of 2025, and they're already in effect. So if somebody comes in today and wanted to take advantage of these, we'll just go ahead and just make sure that we can approve those plans, and those plans will not come to you for any oversight or any recommendation to the city council or to special permit, or just whatever will typically will come to you as a site plan. Those won't come to you. So again, two bills, SB 15 for size and density requirement for residential lots, 840, which is a big one, and that provides for mixed housing, multifamily residential development, and conversion of commercial buildings to mixed use and multifamily. And you've seen over the course of the year since you've been here, you see somehow properties being converted from commercial to residential. So this is just saying we give you that permission to do it without having to go beg for city permission again. So 840, like I said, is probably the most impactful one. It creates a new and updated definition in our zoning code for apartments, multifamily, mixed-use residential, and I think one of the key component of that bill says 65% of the total square footage of that area needs to be converted to residential. So overall, again, two components. The first one for new apartments, mixed residential. The state mandates that height. Currently, we have in our zoning code 35 feet. So the state says, we want to increase density. We want to make sure that we have more housing options. So the state increased it from whatever any city had at that time. For us, we have 35, so it's been increased to 45, so that's going to be reflected in our zoning code as well. The density is 145 units per acre. Again, these are all design issues. These are the things that an applicant will have to design. So these are just the perimeters for them to be able to meet, this threshold that the state is requiring. We are not going to be able to require more than one space per unit or per the development. So when we come to you, for the most part, we come to you asking you for parking reduction. You may not be seeing that as much as this bill goes into. It started being used by developers or by property owners. They also, by right, we're not going to come to you to ask for permission to do any of this No special permit, no detailed site plan, no building permit, no building scale, that's Title 21. You typically don't get Title 21 because that's more administrative on staff, but again, 18, 19, 20, 21 zoning, codes are gonna be amended to reflect what the state is asking us to do. The second component is for conversion. Again, you see some of the buildings that you've seen come to you for special permit to be converted from either commercial to residential. So if you have a building that's being used for office, retail, or warehouse, a minimum of that space, if it needs to be converted, will require 65% of that to be reserved for residential. It has to be 5 years or older. So you just can't build it yesterday and come back and take advantage of this. City can now require traffic impact analysis. And most times that we've come to you, you've asked, what about the traffic analysis? What about the traffic impact? You are not going to be seeing that as much. But there are other cases that you'll be seeing. I'm not saying that you will never see traffic impact studies, but those, if they meet all the thresholds here, they will go ahead and get a building permit. Okay. No extension, no additional parking other than those already existing on the site. So if they have one space, that's what it's going to be. Extension, upgrade of public facilities. Again, that's be a call depending on how many units they have there. That's going to be something that they will have to work with Paso Electric, Paso Water, and Texas Gas. Impact fees, again, if that area is already subject to impact fees, they've already paid it, there will be no need for that. SB 15 is a different animal. This one says land to be platted has to be, hasn't been recorded. So most of the ones that you've been seeing here have been the ones that have been recorded maybe for a retrofit or a reuse. So you are going to be seeing something like new plat that is going to shrink the size of the lot so that they will meet this mandate. It's 5 acres or more, zoning district that allows single-family dwellings only. So these are the standards that the state prescribed for cities 150,000 or more. Single-family residential lot is 4,000 square foot or less. The minimum lot area has to be 2250. Again, this is going to be up to the developers, and also it's going to be a design issue for the most part. So these are the minimums, and the parking requirement also is 1 space. Okay. When we started looking at these 2 bills, we looked at the areas that are going to be very impacted, and those areas are primarily in the Northeast, because Northeast still has several land areas that are still being developed, and most of these properties are owned by Paso Water. So some of these are going to be taken down in a future date, and when they do take them down for development, they will have to apply, abide by these requirements. So what we're asking you today, again, this is just informational for you. These bills went into effect September 1st of this, September 1st of 2025. We are bringing this to you so that you, as the authority over Title 19, 20, and 21, to give us your recommendation of approval to City Council so that we can align our codes to what the states approved back in August. And again, I want to say thank you to staff. They did a fantastic job. It's been pretty much every day for the last 6 weeks that we've been working together with attorneys, urban design staff, planning staff, just to make sure that we can get this to you. So the next step from here is to go to City Council, get the approval, and call it a day. Again, somebody shows up today and wants to take advantage of it, they're good to go. Okay? Questions?
Questions, commissioners, concerns?
I do have questions. Sal, want to go first?
Mine is cool.
Go ahead.
All right.
Commissioner Massoud.
Mr. Ridgway?
Yes, sir.
On Senate Bill 840, and it would have reads that you can use multifamily on what is zoned or construed to be commercial use. Can school sites be considered that?
Yeah, I think school sites can be considered
Even
for
though
that.
they're not zoned, normally school sites.
Well, school zones are zoned.
Yeah.
They are mostly in residential areas, so there's a zoning designation on schools. So when you see a school, schools are always embedded in residential neighborhood because they serve the residential neighborhood, so they do have zoning on it. It's just that they are allowed in pretty much every zone district.
This is great timing for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
If I could just add on to what Philip said, the school, if the zoning is residential, this would not be allowed. Okay, because again, it's looking at the zoning. This is primarily hitting Senate Bill 840 is for the apartment zoning districts, the commercial zoning districts. So every school has a zoning on it, so it would have to be looked at to see what the underlying zoning is to see if that use is allowed. So even though the school may have commercial zoning, may have residential, if apartments are not allowed there, they cannot build apartments unless it goes through that rezoning process.
So not every school site can be considered for that?
Not necessarily. It depends on the site.
But you could come, if you have a school, let's say you bought one of the old schools about
That's what
EPFD.
I'm exactly
Yeah,
talking
you can come and we can get it rezoned for that, correct?
Yeah, and then this
Yeah.
would be applicable, this
Yeah.
could be applicable.
Okay, after you rezone.
After
Yeah.
rezone, correct.
So I just want to mention, thank you, Kevin. All rezoning, school district rezoning is not a gimme. So they still have to come to you. Remember, schools are embedded in residential neighborhood. So there may be oppositions to whatever. So again, I just don't want to stand there and assume that just because you're rezoning, that's going to be the case. Okay? But it's a rezoning. Okay? Any other questions, comments?
Are
Commissioner
schools
Hanson.
not platted?
Schools are platted,
So we wouldn't be able to do the small lots, because small lots can't be platted.
but I think what it says here that, can you go back to, I think it says 5 years or less.
So I think they're the two different bills.
Yeah.
Senate Bill 840 is about the
agree.
apartments, multifamily.
And
Senate Bill 15 is about the small lots that are allowed.
Oh.
And that's for basically virgin land that's never
5
been
acres.
subdivided, as is shown on the screen.
Yeah.
It specifically says this section only applies to a tract of land that will be platted and located in an area zoned for single-family homes, is 5 acres or more, and has no recorded map or plat. This is for the small lots.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
15, yeah.
So if it's a school in a residential area, you can only do the small lots if the school has never been platted.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any
I
other
have
questions?
other questions. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Got a lot of pages, sorry. So the height increase across the board was to 45 for apartments, right?
That's correct.
Even though I feel like, and this is just a comment in general before it goes to city council, I feel like once the apartment use gets more intense, that requirement should either be raised or just deleted entirely. I know it is in one of them, like I think it's like AO something high, but I feel like if we're going to have a density per acre for some of them rather than a minimum square foot per apartment, and it's going to be coveted zones, we should let people build as high as they want. There is a financial factor, and I know that, at some point we're not going to be building 2,000 square feet or 2,000 foot tall buildings, but removing that height limitation seems like, I
So
feel
for-
like we should remove the height limitation.
And you have a good question. So for now, the height has been raised from 35 to 45. Again, remember, these are all subject to design. So if you're not able to build 45-foot high building, then you're not going to build that. So you're just going to have to stay within your requirements. So this is not going to be something that everybody will be knocking down our doors, to say, I want to build a 45-foot high building. So again, it's subject to to design, and this will not be coming to you for any overview or oversight.
But if someone does want to build a 55-foot-high building, and they do come to you and they say, hey, you know, we have all these plans, everything works out, we want to do this, they can't under these codes.
Well, what we have to do, depending, once we make the amendments to the code, we may have to bring that as a request to increase the height to 55.
Okay, so that's something that an applicant could go and request.
That's
a
correct,
higher.
yeah. Everything is subject to a request, and we'll review it and bring it to you for your recommendation.
The 45-foot height is by right.
Correct.
Turn on your mic, please.
The 45-foot height is by right, according to the Senate bill from the state, but if you want more, come back for another special permit.
I'm saying that I feel like they should, once you have higher density uses, that by right height should be higher.
But that's the state. State only passed the 45.
State only required the 45.
No, you can go up to 45.
That's not true. State only required the 45. And what's-
Next question.
Yes, let's try.
How many questions you got?
One more. One
Okay.
more. Do you know what the intent was for having condo defined both as mixed use and multifamily? They did it twice. I don't know if there was any sort of purpose for doing that.
So you're asking me to look into how the state legislators were thinking? Is that?
I guess I'm just wondering, like, is there a specific thing that I'm missing? And they were like, oh, here's the reason that condo needs to be under both.
Well, if you look at typical condos, those have been almost like apartments and condos or townhomes. So it's just a different nomenclature that they have for this type of use. So condos are actually been out of style for many years now because of the maintenance fees and all that. So if you look at condos, multifamily, townhomes, those were pretty much classified as a family.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
That's it?
That's it.
Commissioner Uribe.
Hey, Philip, sorry to pick on you, but I'm not a developer, so basically, back to the schools, so if the land is not plotted, then we can buy the school, demolish and build 4,000 square feet lots? Is that what you said?
Again, if, IT, can you bring up the presentation, please?
So I want to be very careful about, because if you look at buying a school that is defunct, and depending on what the school is classified as, some of these schools are historic. So going through that process of demolishing is going to be a lengthy process.
Right.
Because if there's a designation on that property, you may not be able to demolish that property and build this. Okay, so if it's, most properties, most schools within the city corporate boundaries are platted. So if they are not platted, and if you go back, it says has no recorded plat, it's 5 acres or more. So there are perimeters to what you can do and not do. Okay?
And I did not understand, and I'm sorry, I'm not, you went a little bit too fast. On the 65% residential, can you tell me exactly what that means?
So it says a minimum of, so if you're doing, for example, component number 2, if you're converting an existing building into a mixed use, 65% of that conversion will have to remain residential use. So again, this goes into what the state was thinking, that they wanted to increase housing options for people.
Can you give me an example? Would that be a building on Montana that is one of those old houses, half of it?
It could be any building within the city limit.
It could be a commercial building
It can be a commercial building.
that you buy and you want to put some stores, let's say downstairs, but 65% of that building has to be residential.
That's correct.
If I might just add, if the developer wants to take advantage of not providing the traffic impact study, the parking, it could always not meet those criteria, but then also meet all city requirements.
So in other words, I can buy a warehouse and convert a portion into residential? Is that what it says?
65%. And the rest-
Again, Again, the state set up these perimeters for you. As long as you're within those and you meet all city requirements, I think you're good to go. But again, like I said, and I've repeated it several times, it's up to the developer or the applicant or the property owner. This is more of a design issue. It's more of a design issue. So when you come to us, we'll be looking at your design. If you buy an existing building and you want to convert it, 65% of that, you did your math, you have parking, you have met all the requirements, I think, you'll be good to go with a building permit.
Fire exit, all these other things, of course.
This is just saying that you can do it, but doesn't mean that you're going to get a building permit if you don't meet all those building requirements.
Any other questions, comments, worries, concerns? I just want to say that the state gave you guys a lot of homework, and some of it you're still going to be learning and moving, and, oh, we can't do this, we can do this, this, and that. So what you're asking us to do here, we have to abide by state law, so we're going to entertain a motion to apply Titles 15, 19, 20, and 21 in accordance with Texas Senate Bills 15 and 80. We have to do it. We can't say, we don't want to do it, we don't want to do it, because it's law. So it's pretty much ministerial what we're going to do here.
Entertain a motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve the changes
Second.
in accordance with the state requirements.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion, worries, concerns, questions? None? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Ativi.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We have another presentation by Ms. Cassie Schnell.
Hi, it's Casey.
Casey.
Always have to make that distinction. Yeah, I'm Casey Schnell. I'm with the Urban Planning and Design Department. I'm just going to test this really quick because I haven't used it much. Okay. So I'm here to provide just an overview for the comprehensive plan update called Envision El Paso. I know I presented this earlier in the year, but there's a lot of new faces, so thanks for welcoming me back. The overview is just going to have a general introduction into the project and project process, as well as our public engagement and how it's been informing the deliverables within the plan, and then our next steps. So essentially how we got started was as part of the 2022 strategic plan session. This was a directive that came out of it to fulfill goals number 2 and 7 of safe and beautiful neighborhoods. And essentially there's like a best practice that comprehensive plans should be updated every 10 to 12 years or so. So we started that in 2024 at the 12-year mark. To update Plan El Paso, which was adopted in 2012. So we kicked off at the strategic planning session in 2024 with Envision El Paso, and we're hoping and likely to take it to adoption like late next spring, 2026. So as part of that strategic planning session in 2024, we developed this mission of how this could be a guide to sustainable and fair investment in our community and land development to manage growth and economic opportunity. So essentially, this shows all of the elements that make up Envision El Paso. We, last year in 2024, completed a vision and goals framework, as well as a community priorities framework. And now we are here, which I think is the part that really interests you all, is the future land use plan and map. We are also working on an infrastructure management plan and quick wins, as well as an economic development and housing strategy. So once we have all of these components pulled together, that makes up our final plan that we'll take forward. And so essentially, we've hosted a series of engagement over the past year and a half. In 2024, we hosted a community symposium, which was a 2.5-day event that was really with the goal of building awareness for what is Envision El Paso, what are the topics that it sort of drives, and just having conversations with residents and community organizations that had panel discussions, tours, breakout sessions, and things like that. We facilitated a survey last year that helped us to identify our vision and goals and themes for the project, and I'll talk more about the themes a little later. In 2024, we also hosted workshops, one in each district. Those help to develop and inform the community priorities framework, as well as the development of the place types, which are currently labeled as land use designations in the future land use map. We're calling them place types in our future land use map. And then we recently hosted a workshop in each district plus 3 additional for the future land use map workshop. So we had identified the development of the place types last year, and then we got into mapping where do these changes then take place. Oops. Did that go back too far? Okay. It's like a little delay there. So as part of this survey, it helped to inform our project themes. This is just a sample of some of the questions that were asked. Overwhelmingly, what we heard was that infrastructure maintenance is a big concern for our residents, as well as just opportunity and job growth here, being stewards, responsible stewards of our natural environments, being close and near things to do, open spaces, parks, having walkability, good and safe infrastructure to do so, and then over a third of our respondents believe that there was a housing affordability issue. So this helped to inform our project themes, housing affordability, which is really aligning the types of housing that we provide in the city to resident needs, so creating that housing option. Mobility choice, again, not only in our land use pattern, but in the infrastructure that we provide and to be able to get in and around or to access your daily essentials by options of modes versus just always having to get into your car. Sustainable living, so being responsible stewards of our natural resources and environment. Economic development, so advancing growth and prosperity, increasing opportunity here, really eliminating that like brain drain, how do we retain talent and attract talent, and fiscal responsibility. So developing, ensuring that we're stewarding sustainable development and land patterns so that we can maintain our infrastructure efficiently and deliver those services efficiently. Then overarchingly, we have our community priorities theme, which is just ensuring that when we're driving investment at the city, that we're doing so based on need. So last year, we hosted community workshops, one in each district, and this helped us to identify what those community priorities are, as well as to identify what these updates to the future land use map should look like, which we're calling place types. So we had a series of interactive stations at each workshop that helped us to identify those. So our community priorities framework is essentially a prioritization tool that staff can use to understand how to prioritize investment based on need as defined by residents. Then we, initially developed the place types, so the land uses and themes that sort of came up were that people just want to be near cool things to do. They want to be near amenities. They want to have gathering spaces close by, markets, and just more of that community gathering element. Want improved walkability and connectivity, as well as diversified use of land and mixed use developments. This year, we hosted additional workshops that were really helping us to identify where do these updates take place, and where are other areas that we should maybe study further before updating. So we hosted a workshop in each district, plus 3 additional. One was with the Developers Focus Group. And overarchingly, what we heard was, again, that people want connectivity to open space, walkability, have experiences near where they live to really build that sense of belonging, and to support more neighborhood serving commercial so they don't have to drive 4 different directions to access every which one of the things that they need to access that day. So to sum up, the survey that was facilitated last year helped to identify the themes. Our community workshops in 2024 helped to identify the community priorities, as well as our land use updates, which we're calling the place types. And then our most recent workshops helped to identify where these place types and updates are taking place. So 8 workshops last year, 200 attendees, plus minus 1 survey. It was about 805 responses, I believe. We've additionally have hosted lots of conversations, so overarchingly 24 focus groups, 75 attendees. And then most recently, 11 workshops with 175 attendees. And what we did was we gained an understanding of key priorities for residents to ensure fair investment for all neighborhoods. So this led to us additionally facilitating CFT workshops with every single department to understand what their department goals were and how we can align that with resident needs. And then we received initial input on our land uses to inform the place type developments for the Flume. So some people that we engaged in those focus groups and discussions were some of your higher education stakeholders, economic development stakeholders, your ISDs, other municipalities, your utilities, some developers, and then community-based organization. And then most recently this year in our Flume discussions, in addition to our departments, planning and inspections, capital improvement, and economic development, we've been talking with some of the developers that you see listed here. So I showed this earlier, so this is, again, is just reiterating the sorts of elements that are pulled together to create this plan, Envision El Paso. We are here at the Future Land Use Map. We took this to work session with council last Monday, so I know I'm doing this a little backwards. But it essentially, you saw the numbers around engagement. They're not super great. So we wanted to ask them, what are opportunities that they see to further engage residents on, especially things like the Future Land Use Map. We think it's a really great opportunity to have these conversations and have residents be informing that process versus at the individual rezoning. And so if we can kind of get that at the front end, that's great. And then upcoming, we'll be taking the Flume presentation. I'll be back in a couple weeks with you all, and then we'll be taking it to work session at the end of this month. And then we'll have our housing strategy and our needs assessment that we will take to work session in November. So we'll be back for that, I'm sure. Yeah, so there we are, my next steps. And that's that. So I don't think I'm asking for any real direction, just kind of sharing our overview and what we've done so far.
All right. Questions, concerns, Commissioner Uribe?
Thank you. And so basically, you conducted a survey to all these people, and basically what you're saying is they want to be able to have all these services close to their homes, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want to drive 10 miles to go shopping. They don't want to drive 10 miles to go to have a drink or to go to a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be we keep pushing all the commercial developments away from the houses, and because we don't want to bother them. But in fact, what you're saying is they prefer to be able to walk or drive or short distance to these places. So I think it's important that we listen to the people and what is it that they want. So they actually want commercial close to their homes. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on that. And thank you for your presentation.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioners, Commissioner Hanson.
I have questions.
Go ahead.
What kind of questions were in your survey? Was it like how far will you walk to go to a community amenity like this?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can recall exactly because it's been a year and a half. So that was informing the visioning and goals. So it was asking about multimodal options, walkability options, and housing options, but I can't recall exactly the exact questions. But the idea was we had some initial, the comprehensive plan is looking at things like land use and economic development and your transportation. So the questions were around those three topics. I can't recall specifics, but I could probably get those to Kevin or something to send out.
And the designations, what are you changing them to?
They're called place types.
What are the place types?
There's 11, so there's 2 neighborhood place types. Again, I can maybe send that out separately, or because I'll be presenting each one of those on the next one. But I can send, on our website, we have all of the information that we've been sharing with the community around the place types, like what they are, what the future land goals are, and what those changes look like, so we can send that to you as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask the commissioners, how many of you attended your district or local meeting that they had? You did? Oh,
Yay.
okay. All right, good,
Yeah.
good, good. Any other questions,
Yes.
concerns?
I
Commissioner
have some
Rodriguez.
I didn't watch the city council meeting, so do you mind touching a little bit on the statistics of engagement? I did go to the District 4 flu meeting, and I think there was 4 people there, including myself and
Yeah, I
2
think it
others
was
I
like 6
recruited.
total, yeah.
So can you also speak to what works and what doesn't?
Yeah, so last year, I feel like when we were getting on the news consistently, that worked really well. I think there's a couple of different things I have heard, just because some people have had more tenure at the city. Mailers seem to work a little bit better, but there's also, I think, the demographic of like 18 to 34-year-olds that we want to reach more. And recently, with another project, we did a social media campaign to reach that audience, and I feel like it had a 15,000, 18,000 plus reach, which I think is a lot better. We didn't, scope and things had already been set in this, so that wasn't incorporated into this plan, but I think the social media campaigns with the reason why I also think it worked is we were working with a third party that really can speak that language of that sort of like 18 to 34 demographic, so it's not coming through like the city filter, so to say. So those are the 3 things I feel like are working better.
And then I wanted to know how, so this Envision El Paso is very aspirational, very long-term.
Yep.
How does this connect with other plans like the Climate Action Plan that's about to come to council, the Parks and Rec Master Plan that's about to open up? There's a lot of plans.
Yep.
And community at the ground level gets very confused.
Yeah.
We already met with city, we've already done a survey.
Yep.
What's this about?
Yeah, as I can't really speak to like the communication triangulation, like the public-facing communication triangulation. That is always interesting, I think. But internally, we're working together. Envision El Paso is informed by all of those plans, and knowing that we had the Climate Action Plan being developed and working closely with that team, knowing that while the Parks Master Plan is just beginning, so we don't know what those updates are looking like, we understand that those were coming forward. So trying to get as much like cross-pollination as possible, just in meetings and CFTs and ways like that. But essentially, because it's a long-term visionary document, you are doing sort of an audit across all of these plans. So we were able to overlap a little bit with the climate action, and now as we're working on the like infrastructure management portion of it, there's a lot of conversation happening there. Parks Master Plan, the way that I'm understanding it is that even though it's happening after, this is a living document, so it's even if it's adopted in 2026, it doesn't mean that it's static and that it just ends because things are going to change and evolve and your plans get updated. So we can, incorporate. There's some incorporation there to be had.
And then I'll ask my last question. I'm excited to see housing. I'm not quite sure where housing currently even lives at the city. I talked to different staff across different departments. So where will housing live? And then also, are there plans to invest any local dollars into housing? Since my understanding is there's currently 0 local dollars.
So you're right that housing is like kind of in different pieces and departments. I know that a department is going to run manage the housing component and be sort of the cross-function facilitator across the multiple. I don't know how much I could speak to that right now.
Okay.
And then as far as the dollar, same thing. I don't have that knowledge as to how much local dollars are going to be implemented, but we have a strategic planning session coming up in February, and I think that's where a lot of those answers may come through.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioners, other questions, concerns? I have some. So Envision El Paso is a replacement of Plan El Paso, correct?
Update, yeah.
Updated, all right. I remember Plan El Paso was done in 2012, and up to 3-4 years ago, a lot of it became obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
And Envision El Paso was started by the last city council.
Mm-hmm.
which the majority of those city council members are not there anymore. And the new members got stuck with this. When you talked, well, yeah, you know, when you talked about housing affordability, are we talking about housing as in, what kind of housing?
Yeah, so some people confuse it
Public
with-
housing?
It's not subsidized housing, it's affordable housing, but we're looking at all housing, so it's also market rate. So just looking at what are the different housing options or types that our residents actually need, because not everyone wants to or can live in a single-family home. So are there ways that we can incorporate smaller housing types, condos, smaller apartment styles, just smaller homes in general too? Duplexes,
But-
triplexes, quadplexes,
but
like how do we
housing
enable
aff-
that?
But housing affordability, that's market-driven.
Yep, yeah.
That's market-driven. The prices of homes just went up high because they were selling a lot of hotcakes, and a lot of investors, a lot of people with some money started buying houses. And if a house cost $50,000 in a neighborhood, somebody who had the money came in and paid $100,000.
Yep.
Which led to the uptick on property taxes. And that has not stopped. That has not stopped, and it won't stop. Also, when you have a bunch of sales of houses, it triggers a state law that the following year, the Central Appraisal District has to assess again, and have to assess again. And people don't realize that. They think that it's a city or the county or the school districts that are doing it. A lot of them say it's the Central Appraisal District. But I don't understand housing affordability if that's market-driven. The other one I want to talk about is economic development. One of the problems we have here in El Paso is the 70-30. 70-30 is the burden of the residential owners paying 70% of all taxes, 30% commercial industry. But that's been going on for 30, 35, maybe even 40 years. It's my belief, personal belief, until we reverse that, like other cities in Texas and throughout the U.S., then we're going to come out on top. So all the money we've done in the past 25 years, economic development, has not paid off for us, has not paid off for us, because it's 70-30, 70-30. Once you start, hey, reducing that 70 to 60, 40, all right, we're doing some progress. But we just can't seem to do that. I think we need to do a better job on that.
And I just wanted to clarify, there's a distinction between affordable housing and housing affordability. Affordable housing includes public subsidy, and you have to be income eligible. And housing affordability just means without that, you should still be paying 30% or less. So it just.
I would,
Commissioner
I'd like to
Uribe.
make a comment, and sorry, I don't totally agree with your comments, because if we drive the property taxes on commercial and industrial buildings, we're going to drive away the business from our community, and that's what creates jobs and helps our community be more sustainable. So I think it's more like a responsible spending from our community, what we need to keep an eye on. As we know, the school district spends 50% of our tax money, and that's where the money goes. And so I just wanted to make that comment. We need to be careful not to scare industrial businesses coming to our community. So we need to keep a balance. They have to pay their share, but it has to be balanced.
You know, I'm a businessman. I'm an industry guy, and I've always want more industry and more industry to come in. The city provides these what? Incentives to them. A lot of times, once the incentives run out, they're gone, okay? But again, we need to have industry, more industry, a lot more industry. We need to do a better job on that. And I am a proponent of bringing industry in. I'll give you an example real quick. That land that was bought where Meta is at, up in the Northeast, that was bought in the early 2000s, hoping to bring a big corporation or some corporations to help out. Nothing landed, nothing landed. It was just barren there, just barren there. Finally, we got this one to do it, which I agree with. You know, I agree with. Instead of the land being barren, we got something. it's what it is, but it's better than the land being barren, you know? So I am for industry big time. That's my business.
Yeah, I would just say one comment that kind of merges the two is that, you know, sometimes employers or industry won't come because there's no people living in and around. And that's, you're talking maybe about a much larger scale, but it's like an example could be just grocery stores in and around neighborhoods. You have to have people there in order to bring in the market. And so, you know, the other element is that taxes are so high because we have such a diffused land development pattern. And so really looking at where are the opportunities where things already exist, but we can add, you know, the dirty word of density, but, you know, we can add density and it creates opportunity and it creates option, whether that's housing option or mobility option or employment option, right? And so that's really the things that we're looking for in this plan.
Any other questions? I'll just say one last thing.
Yeah.
We're not growing as a city, okay? We're not growing as a city. One of the problems is our brain drain. I have 2 children. They'd love to live here in El Paso, but the opportunities aren't here. They left, they're not coming back. You know, we're not growing as a city. We need to grow as a city. Any others? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.